I mean, in Chinese culture, we believe in a life for a life. So in Carmelo Anthony's case, I think the sentencing is actually, hey guys, welcome back to Common Sense. My name is Dave. And today we're going to talk about Carmelo Anthony's case because the verdict just came in 2 days ago. And he was sentenced to 35 years in prison for stabbing a white kid, Austin Metcalf, and killing him almost instantaneously because the stab was in the heart. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a few things and then, for benefit of everyone. Number one, we're going to talk about the incident, right? Just a quick recap of what exactly happened so you have some background. Number two, we're going to talk about the punishment itself and then compare that to using common sense as someone who came from, who were born and raised in China, come from like another culture, looking at America justice system from as an observer standpoint. Is this justice? Is it actually justice? Is this verdict correct, not correct? Is he actually innocent? Well, we'll talk about all of that. And then I want to more touch up on the response coming in from the parents, the family of Carmelo Anthony, as well as the community sentiment, the cultural differences, the cultural challenges I see, which is something that as someone who have now became a U.S. citizen, love this country, is more worried about. So with that being said, I actually asked Grok, give me a full timeline rundown, and I compared this to a few other reports I've read. I've read quite a bit of report on this incident, and it's pretty accurate, right? So basically on April 2nd, a District 11 high school track meet was held at David Stadium. Right? I don't want to misread this word. It doesn't matter. Basically, it's a high school track meet event. And then there was a heavy thunderstorm that delayed the event. So students were trying to look for shelter. So long story short, basically around 10 a.m., Anthony, the perpetrator, the black kid, entered the Memorial High School student tent. But he's not from that school. He's from Centennial, right? He's from a different high school. Basically, he's in the wrong high school tent. And remember, this is a high school track meet. It's a very competitive event. And from what I researched, Centennial as well as Memorial High School are rival high schools. So they're at a track meet, and then the tension is by default kind of high. You can say, oh, it's a friendly event, but really, like, students treated very competitively. And these are all athletes we're talking about. If you look at Anthony, Karmelo Anthony and Austin, they're all really fit, right? They're all athletes. So the idea is Anthony was sitting at the wrong tent. And then when the students, Memorial High School students, find out, they obviously went over there and said, yo, Anthony, you're in the wrong tent. Well, they didn't know his name. Just like, you're in the wrong tent. Please leave. And then there were witnesses saying there were up to 15 times. Witnesses say there are up to 15 times where he was asked to leave. So instead of leaving, what Carmelo Anthony did was he actually escalated. And then he just refused to leave and said words like, touch me and see what happens. And then obviously being competitive and then being in a rival school in a track meet kind of environment, you can understand, if you hear a threat like that, physical altercations is possible within the possible realm of, reality. Possibility. It's obviously not encouraged to have physical altercations, but, this is stuff that happens in high school all the time. So Austin Metcalf actually pushed Anthony first, right? And then he basically shoved or pushed him. But immediately afterwards, he got stabbed by Anthony. And then this is what happened. So after Anthony stabbed him to the heart, and then Austin just died on site in front of his twin brother. His twin brother was also there. And then Anthony was quickly surrendered to the police right afterwards and claiming that he was protecting himself and this is in self-defense. So what I found interesting after this whole accident is on April 14th, initially the bond was set to $1 million, but on April 14th, the bond was actually reduced to $250K by Judge Angela Tucker, citing clean record, academic, athletic, or whatever. And Anthony released under house arrest with conditions, supervision, no social media, no contact with victim family, which is totally BS in my opinion, right? Somebody's kid just died. The funeral was held on April 12th. And then from a Chinese background, there's no way the other kid, the perpetrator, somehow get released on a bond. Especially it's just a span of few days when there's no way they got all the stuff right at that point. You don't know what's going to happen. How is this allowed that perpetrator is, going to go home? I don't understand that, but it is what it is, right? If there's precedent, if there's something that judge rule, it's something that you have to follow. I just feel bad because from a Chinese cultural aspect, this is not normal for sure. It's not something that we've seen because I grew up watching Law and Crime channel in China, and it's like a national show. Everybody watch it. And from our culture, when we see somebody losing a life, it's a life for a life. That's common sense. That's usually house fair, right? Because if you took away somebody else's life, you should understand the consequences. Your life is also on the chopping block. But that's basically what happened. And then finally, after a year, I remember this event happened like last year, a long, long time ago. I don't remember exactly until I read all the timeline, did all the research, right? But what happened is after a year, June 9th this year, which is 2 days ago, after 3 hours of deliberation, jury found Anthony guilty of murder, and then same day sentenced to 35 years in prison, eligible for parole after half. So he can possibly come out of prison like basically in 17 years. And then if he has good behavior, considering that this kid never had any criminal record in the past, and if he's actually a decent kid, then he can come out a lot earlier. So maybe even 10 years. I don't know exactly how much you can reduce sentence in this type of situation where you capital murder. But if he's 17 now, he can like realistically come out before he even reaches 30. That means in Karmelo Anthony's case, he still have a whole life ahead of him. But if you look at the other side, the victim family, right? Austin Metcalf, he's dead. There's no more. His life is gone. At this point, it's over. It's already over for him. It's over for his family. Because a lot of time when this type of crime is committed, it's not just the person you killed. It's more all his loved ones, the family you have affected, right? And it's really sad. That's why I said it's like usually a really, really sad situation. And that's why capital murder treated really, really seriously. In this case, is it justified? It is what it is with American justice system, especially with jury there. I think he was sentenced. I initially heard it was 5 to 99 years, but then eventually with 35 years and he's eligible for parole after 17. This have shown like a broader, in my opinion, softer on crime type of way how things are judged. Because like think about the victim's family, how many people's lives are ruined, right? Like think about the twin brother, the parents, it's very, very sad situation. But for Karmelo Anthony, for the entire case, actually, there are a few things that just doesn't add up to me. Why would you go to a high school track meet for Karmelo Anthony and then bring a knife? Like, there's no case necessary for a student to bring a knife, for a high school student, 17-year-old, to bring a knife in a pocket and then put a hand in the pocket and threaten to kill his teammate. Or the other person who come up to him. And then another thing is, this is clearly not self-defense. The reason being is his back is not against the wall. If his back is against the wall, it's like what I would consider as back against the wall is an actual I would say bullying. Because that happened all the time when I was a kid. I remember like kids were actually some smaller kids got shoved into the bathroom and he had nowhere to go. A lot of times it's actually girls, right? And the girl who was being bullied had nowhere to go. She was in the bathroom being surrounded by a few other girls asking her to strip naked and beat her. Or put I remember they used, there was a very severe case in our school where the kid got bullied, had a cigarette, butts on her skin. It's really, really bad. That I would consider back against the wall. In this case, you're in a freaking tent. And it's not like you're in the right tent and somebody else come to take your territory. You're in the wrong tent. It's very similar to like you bought a window seat on the airplane, and then you now after you board, you realize somebody else is already sitting on the seat. It frequently happens nowadays and you see those news all the time. And when you walk to your seat, somebody else at the seat, and you're like, yo, excuse me, this is my seat. And they're like, no, it's my seat. And why are you so stubborn? Why can't you just move? Because it's my seat. Because I pay for it. And by the way, like a lot of seats on an airplane, like you actually pay extra to sit at a window or whatnot because you have to pay for designated seat. But you get the point. The idea is Karmelo Anthony wasn't in the right to begin with. He was in the wrong tent. And he had every opportunity just to walk away, which is not very hard. Just go to your own tent. There's no eligible claim that this is self-defense. You can't, any reasonable person with any sense of common sense left, there's no way you can defend this case from a common sense standpoint, right? Like, because you can just leave. Especially, I was reading a bunch of research from all eyewitness accounts in the beginning of the interaction. The request was quite polite because they don't really know him. They don't know each other. They just saw this person was in wrong 10. Like there's no reason to be a dick about it, although that can possibly happen. But either way, if somebody come out say, hey, you're in the wrong 10, you should leave. Any reasonable person would just leave, especially seeing a lot of people coming at the same time. So, and I also asked Grok, was Austin Metcalf the aggressor? The answer is no. And they showed a bunch of evidence, all the links you can click and read the research about it. But Austin did shove Anthony, right? Again, this is upon request, because Carmelo Anthony was putting his hand in the pocket in the back and said, touch me and see what happens. Like, this is also weird. If you see somebody having hand in an unknown area, like any normal person wouldn't walk closer to him. If like any common sense would tell you he possibly has a weapon, it doesn't matter whether he actually, or if he's bluffing or not, but it's not your job to find out because you're putting your life on the line to do what, right? Yeah, this guy's being a dick and not moving. So just back out a little bit, right? And then say, hey, let's talk. And we're simply asking them to move. But instead, obviously, there's teenager kids and then emotions were high in this type of confrontation. A lot of people there. You can understand why this thing escalated. The point I'm trying to make is a lot of things don't add up. First, self-defense, the ground of self-defense, completely BS, right? Second, why they have to escalate that way? Third is why does Karmelo Anthony have to bring a knife to a school track meet? Maybe that day he just wanted to do something. I think that's probably one of the reasons why the jury decided to give him the sentence in the end. Because there's no, as a student, you're a 17-year-old, bro. Why are you bringing a knife to a school track meet? I mean, maybe he just went through a breakup. I don't know what happened, right? But it doesn't make sense. No one would bring a knife. No student will bring a knife. No parent will ask their student to bring a knife. By the way, kid, I think it's dangerous in school out there. So here's a knife, put it in your pocket if somebody bully you. Nobody's going to say that. It doesn't make any sense, right? And I asked where the student's black and white, the student witness should make sure to see if it's fair. And then the Grok's response to the student witness in the Karmelo Anthony case was a mix, right? Primarily aligned with the schools involved. So if the school had more black people, it's black, and the school has more white people, it's white. That kind of stuff. It's basically proportional to that. And then another interesting thing I find out is there's no black jury, right? No black jurors on the jury. Were the jury all white in the trial? The answer is yes. This is kind of weird, because at the same, you can understand that in the district where this happened, it was majority white, but at the same time, it's a black kid's life that's being judged right now, and it wouldn't make sense for the fairness of all, just for the appeal of it all, right? It makes sense to have a black juror. You don't have to release the identity of the juror, but it makes sense to have a black juror. But what I didn't see was any black jurors, right? It's all white. It was widely reported as an all-white jury, right? Or at minimum, 0 black members. Interesting how that happened. Because there was also a bunch of discussion. Apparently, there was some debate, the Baston challenge or whatever, and eventually denied for some technicality. But there was no black jurors on the jury, which is something I think is a real case because I don't think it's fair and something that the defense can use, But obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I just from any outsider standpoint, let's look at that. Okay, well, there should be at least 1 or 2 jurors that's black that's on the jury. It's just that it's not about ideology, really. It's mostly just I think people are naturally feel more safer with their own skin tone. And this is not trying to be racist, just human nature. It is exactly what it is. Deny that is delusional, Anyways, so I asked Grok what is the likely punishment if this crime were to be committed in China? Because where I grew up, and it's still the way it is, which is, what we largely believe, Chinese immigrant, Chinese in general, is a life for a life, Because again, I still don't understand. A lot of sense in America is not consistent in logic. And obviously, I'm not here to talk about broader every single social issue that's, inconsistent. But I can give you the simple example. we don't believe kids are smart enough to drink under age of 21, right? We check their IDs and all that kind of stuff. But yet the kids can do lots of more important shit like voting, right? Like you don't even believe that they can control themselves with alcohol and somehow they're allowed to vote, right? Or somehow they're allowed to change their gender without parents' permission. All those, if it happened once, it cannot be altered. Like let's say voting is like, sure, you can vote every so often, but change your gender is a life-altering decision. You do it once, it cannot be changed back. And if the law or if the general society believe the kid is not even smart enough to control him or herself under the age of 21 to drink, then why does it make sense for society to then allow kids to like change genders? Like, how does that make sense? I don't know. It's illogical to me, but again, that's beyond our discussion for today. The idea, what I see is a lot of things do not make sense, right? It just doesn't. Like, for example, in this case, Karmelo Anthony committed the crime of killing Austin Metcalf. And you think about, because we frequently think about, oh, it's a kid, he had no prior incident, he's an athlete, all that kind of stuff. Look at all his rights, human rights need to be protected. But how about the victim's family? Did you hear the impact statement from the family members? And did you see how much pain? Because I can't even imagine this amount of pain the family's going through. Like sometimes, I don't know if you guys have the same experience, because I can't speak for anyone at all. I can only speak for myself. Sometimes I had this random thoughts of, looking at how fast time passes. And I think about, the close members, loved ones in my circle who might possibly disappear. And I get emotional, right? My wife get emotional thinking about like dogs being tortured like around the world, right? Because she loves animals, and every time we walk, she brings a little case of peanuts to feed a little squirrel. She sees a squirrel being squashed on the street, she cries. Like, people get emotional, and they think about someone losing their actual loved ones, how much pain they're going through right now. Like, because for Austin, his life stopped last year at a point when this incident happened, when it's completely, utterly unnecessary. So what about his right? Because it has to be every single consideration for rights, it has to be on an equal footing. And when we say that, but the actual justice system just doesn't feel like it. Because in this case, it's clear as daylight that Karmelo Anthony's rights put way above the victims. Doesn't matter. You can say, oh, there are a lot of people coming in. He felt like his life is threatened. No, you could leave. It's a tent. Your back is not against the wall. They ask you to leave. You just leave. It's not your territory to begin with. It's not your seat. Get up and leave. It's common sense, unless there's that's the next thing I want to talk about, which is a broader cultural issue. I don't know how the entire community or the kids were raised even to understand what is a common sense right or wrong, Because you're not in the right to begin with. And then you have every opportunity to back out and leave. But instead, you decided, no, I'm going to, quote unquote, stand up for myself for the wrong I'm doing. How does that make any sense to anyone who is thinking logically, besides the ones who just want to stir up trouble, or the ones who are close to Karmelo Anthony, who want to defend them no matter what? Because that makes sense, right? For example, if I'm Karmelo Anthony and I committed a horrible crime, my parents would defend me no matter what, because they love me more than anything else, And your family would do the same for you, for the loved ones that actually do love you, right? That's common sense. But beyond those few specific cases, specific characters in your life, the broader society, you notice a really weird sentiment. And we'll get into that and show some examples of it, right? But yeah, so I asked Grok about this thing, like, what is happening? And this is what Grok's response is, right? In China, a 17-year-old committing a similar crime would likely face a severe but non-capital sentence due to their age. Because most of the time we see, not most of the time, frequently we see it's like death sentence in China, and that's also allowed in Texas, right? So this is a likely punishment. Most probable outcome, life imprisonment or a long fixed-term sentence, probably potentially reducible, Recent similar cases show courts imposing life sentences on teens for premeditated or particularly cruel stabbing of classmates, even with mitigating factors like age. So 14 years old, sentenced to life. Teen stabbing a teacher and sentenced to life. 13 years old, got a life for brutal classmate killing. Another teen accomplice got 12 years. Everything I showed you, by the way, you can say American law and Chinese law are different. No, I totally understand that. What I'm coming at is more from a common sense standpoint, because our channel, I don't really care about politics. I just want to look at everything that happens from a common sense standpoint, right? Because I think if somebody committed a crime, especially murdering someone out of cold blood, the correct way to look at it from any common sense standpoint is a life for a life. Because otherwise, it wouldn't be fair at all. Like no other punishment seems to be fair, right? Because if you think about it, unless this guy was actually bullied, he's actually self-defense, that's a whole different story. Then he might just like, if I back out a little bit, right? And say the example I give, and Karmelo Anthony was actually in the freaking restroom and this few white guys was bullying him, putting him in the corner and trying to beat him up. And he stabbed Austin Makoff to death. Bro, we'll support it with a banner, right? Like anyone with common sense would support it if that's the case. But that wasn't the case. The case was clear. He was instigating this, right? He said, yo, touch me and see what happens. Like who does that? Who does that? It's almost like he wanted to try what self-defense feels like. Like holding a gun in your hand and see, yo, touch me and see what happens. Oh, okay. Finding a reason to experience killing. That's literally what it feels like, right? So bottom line, unlike 35-year sentence in Texas, China would almost certainly impose life imprisonment due to the homicide nature, but no execution because of the offender's age. Which makes sense, from the way how we understand law in China. Yeah, bringing it back to how a Chinese culture looking at American law, I think is just, you can see a broader theme of very soft on crime. And I believe we as humans act on human nature, which is incentives, right? Like we're all born a blank sheet of paper, and then we are drawn towards incentives. If you tell me certain things, if I do this, I can make some amount of money. If I do that, I can, be a certain amount of person, be respected by society, I will do it, right? If you tell me that if I do this, as a guy, a bunch of girls will like me, or if I'm a girl, I'll get all the attention in the world, they will do it, right? Just look at OnlyFans. Think about it. So OnlyFans defies everything. Think about about good girls, nature of good girls, right? You think girls are nice, nobody want to do that, sell their body, but no, like just look at how many people are doing it. The people in my circle that I knew are on OnlyFans. You would never think they're on it, but they are, because it's the amount of money you make from that is just insane. And why wouldn't you? If you can make life-changing money for showing some skins, like no brainer, to be honest. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. But that's just the point I'm trying to make is human nature, So with that being said, I want to talk about like a broader, more societal issue, and then, from a parent's response as well, because I think a lot of it is cultural. Like this thing reflected a bigger cultural war that's going on in America right now. First, let's share the grandma's response to Karmelo Anthony's verdict, right? This is the grandma. She's basically chanting outside, along with Karmelo Anthony's supporters, to say that this judgment is racist, biased, prejudiced, while taking zero accountability for what her grandson actually did. Again, in this specific case, I fully understand. Like, because when I say in this specific case, I meant in this specific person's case, right? Because this is the grandma. If anyone who can just discard all reasoning, all logic, and support Karmelo Anthony for whatever reason, it's this person. It's the mom, it's the grandma, it's the family that's close to them and want to see their kids come out of the prison free, right? But it's still, this is from a spectator perspective, this is disgraceful, right? Because like, we have no skin in the game, but when you look at it, it just looks really bad. It's just a really bad look. Like if like a graceful parents, knowing that their kid committed this crime, would just walk away and not participate in this type of political war outside, right? Like, because it's not, you understood what happened, or anyone with common sense actually saw what happened, and saw the reporting, saw the witness statement. We all knew what happened. It's like, this is clear as daylight. It's not a self-defense case, right? Your grandkid just literally stabbed a white kid to death for something as trivial as a school altercation, a track meet altercation. Like, bro, he lost his life for what? Like, because he shoved him by request? Like, he didn't even shove him to begin with. He shoved him by request. Karmelo Anthony asked for it. Like, what do you want? So this is, and I see this as a broader, by the way, this is not like first time I've seen this, right? I've seen it very frequently, that we've seen a lot of videos online where when the kid make a mistake, it's really rare in the United States to see their parents actually stand up and discipline the kid. The reason I want to show this video is just show that how spoiled of a society are we in right now. Like, this reflects some much broader societal problems, in my opinion. And then let's talk about the community sentiment, right? People who have no skin in the game, who has nothing to do with this. But like I said, the grandma, she can decide however she wanted. Makes sense because it's grandma, right? Grandma will do whatever it takes to get a grandson out, whatever it takes. But what about a random person?
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
She's so emotional. That's number one. Number two, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you want me to do? Just tell your kids not to go to a track meet, first of all, to bring a knife. Number two, if you're in the wrong, admit the wrong. Understand action have consequences. Simple. Number three, don't confront the police, right? Comply. Like, actually respect authority. Like, that's common sense. And I feel like you can say different culture have different rules and a different basic community, different race have different rules or community culture or whatnot. But we all live in America. I think there should be a baseline agreement to social structure, right? And that is respect for each other. In this case, understand basic right or wrong. And you're not entitled to anything in life, right? Especially when you're in the wrong. You're in somebody else's tent, they request you to leave, you leave. When you're 1 versus 20, they said there were 15 people there, right? Or something or a lot of people from that tent, from the Anthony school, not Austin school, who came to the tent and requested to leave. When you're 1 versus a lot, you should leave, right? Even if you're in the right sometimes, because your back's not against the wall. There are tons of places you could go. And just what I would do, just simply record it and post it online. And like, if this is actually, you're in the right, and this bunch of stupid kids are bullying you out of your tent, and you feel like your life in danger, record it, put it online, and let the court of public opinion destroy them. But that clearly wasn't the case. And you knew, he knew that wasn't the case. That's why he didn't do anything. He just stand there and confronted them. And I see this kind of aggression, like natural aggression, very, very often. Like very, very often in America. It doesn't make sense. And this is not just black and white. It's everyone, right? In America, but notice like there's a lot of the kids that just hate authority and also are angry at things for no reason. Zero respect for each other. It's a broader community issue that I noticed, because this definitely do not have to happen. And also the community agony, this animosity is there's no foundation for this. What do you mean? Yeah, what can you tell your kids? A bunch of stuff. Literally just first of all, most important thing, don't bring a freaking knife to a track meet. That's number one thing you tell your kids. That's it. It's so weird that this is even happening. The author here says, don't murder. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Like, how about you tell your kids just not to murder? That's pretty good starting point. Another thing is this is a very funny video. Basically, a random black guy saw this homeless person, or this person who was chilling at the corner, is somehow the white juror on the jury, and went punch him. Look.
Hey, wasn't you on jury selection?
No, he wasn't. Man. No, he wasn't. Seriously. No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
He was on jury selection.
He's a vet. He's a vet. He ain't been on jury selection.
And then this girl was protecting the guy. Like, the guy cannot protect himself, kind of thing. Oh my God. It's I don't know. I feel like there's so much mental illness going on in America, and then this thing's not being addressed because people are too soft on each other, right? because we respect quote unquote personal freedom too much. For Yo people, for people who literally cannot make decisions for themselves, for people who are obviously on drugs and voluntarily homeless, somehow that's allowed in America is disgraceful for a developed country, for a society that's supposed to be progressing. But all I see is very regressive, like reverse motion in reverse. Like this guy who's sitting at a corner just seemed mentally ill, and for a reason I don't know the background, but it's really sad to see. And he clearly needed help, especially he got punched like this or smashed like this, and the response is kind of awkward as well. Like, but obviously, why is this guy randomly slapping people and that's allowed on the street?
You gonna die.
Quit, dude.
You on jury? Why you on jury?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
You on jury selection?
He wasn't.
You was on jury selection?
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
No, he wasn't.
not for Anthony. Not for Karmelo Anthony. Oh.
He's looking for a reason to find trouble. Like recently, there was a case I read where there was a case involving a Chinese immigrant who shot another black kid who stole from the store a few hundred feet outside the store, which is kind of odd. But there were evidence of the thief actually carrying a gun, and there was proof, actual proof where the kid went into the store with no good intentions because he had no money, he had no credit card, he basically could not pay for sure. He was carrying a gun, and after the police investigated everything, they found out that's exactly what happened. But still, the guy killed him in defense of his son because there are two people chasing him. And then now the entire black community, I wouldn't say entire, but online at least, the online police or online black community were just calling up random ass Asian restaurants, ordering 10 chickens, 10 orange chickens, whatever. By the way, it's so sad that all is orange chicken, right? Kung Pao chicken, orange chicken. But those are not Chinese food. Let me make it really clear. The first orange chicken I had in my life was college when I came to the United States. I never heard of this dish before because it's not a mainland dish, not a mainstream dish. Ask any Chinese student. They probably had the same experience. That food is more of American Chinese. Let's make something simple and then something that appeal to American taste buds. Oh, how about let's mix sweet into chicken, right? Or I heard it's like something that's inspired by a Cantonese dish. I don't know, but it's not mainstream Chinese dish. Nobody heard of it. And then but a bunch of this online black police community vigilantes call up random Asian stores and just like order 10 orange chickens or Kung Pao chickens and not pick up the food. So the restaurant can go out of business. Like, it's such a stupid ass behavior, and it doesn't show anything good, but to reflect on the broader issues with this community in general, with the cultural challenge that they're having as a whole. Like, it doesn't make peace. It doesn't build the community better. And I feel like this type of things just make society worse, right? Because we're trying to move forward and everybody trying to help to say, okay, well, we should treat everybody equally. But how can you treat people equally when they don't deserve it? Like, this type of action is literally monkey primitive behavior. It shows that the brain is not fully developed or whatnot. Like, only someone's brain is not fully developed or stupid can do stuff like that. It's not related to the race. It just, maybe drugs, because America's all, let's do drugs. And like pregnant lady, a lot of pregnant lady actually do drugs, smoke, drink, no matter what. And then no wonder you say like, oh, why are current, our next generation all autistic, ADHD? Yeah, because nobody takes self accountability serious anymore. It seems like that's exactly the case. No matter what the doctor says, who the heck is a doctor, right? I can drink, I can eat whatever the hell I want when I'm pregnant. That's literally what I saw. In this case, is exactly the same. Why do you smack a random guy on the street who seemed homeless, like he was on a juror? And most importantly, this guy's in Florida, and the case is in Texas. Are you actually stupid? Because here's the thing. I think to call people stupid is arrogant a lot of times, right? And it's not something I want to do, but the action is just stupid, right? But if you think logically, if this person is actually not stupid, then why is he doing stupid things? It can only logically derive deriving to one more step, which is he doing it on purpose just because he wanted to do something bad. He wanted to go smack up a white guy, but he wanted to make up an excuse because obviously he's recording. He's recording. So what does that mean? He's trying to get clout. He's trying to get attention online. So he tried to make up excuse to smack a random white guy and then link this guy with Karmelo Anthony's case. That's so pathetic. Whoever recorded this video, let me tell you, you're a disgusting human scum, right? And you don't belong in this society. You really don't. This disgrace the black community, really, because it's just crazy. It's retarded. Let's put it this way, right? And let's talk about stuff that's and this is another thing that's kind of extreme, right? We're extreme. Watch this.
You don't receive that. Your justice is fucking frontier justice. They kill one of y'all, you kill one of them.
He's referring to the Karmelo Anthony's case, and this clip went absolutely viral. You can see there are 9.4K comments, 4K retweets, 11K likes, whatever. What? Like what? Did you not read the same information we all read? Because this is online social media age. Everybody can read the same information. See, this is what gave me chills, right? Because American society seems like we read the same data, 1 + 1 = 2, but people come to different conclusions. Some people say, oh, okay, well, that's something, it's 1 + 1 = 2, it is what it is. But a group of people look at it and say, this is conspiracy. Like, no way 1 + 1 = 2. 1 + 1 have to be 11, right? Like, just think about one stick and another stick put together. Dude, it's 11, no? Why is it 2? It's literally what it feels like. Like, what this guy was saying is, oh, you look at a case, as clear as daylight, it's not a self-defense. This guy was clearly troubled somehow, bringing a knife to a school track meet, challenging, inciting people to touch him, push him first, so he can act on, quote unquote, at least in his opinion, what he thought was a self-defense. This is not self-defense. He's looking for trouble. He wanted to do something bad, and he's looking to basically mitigate the crime. In a way, because that's what it looks like from all angle of evidence, right? Like, why would you carry a knife to school? Why would you ask, touch me, and see what happens while putting a hand in the backpack? Obviously, I'm not saying that Austin should have approached him, ever. Because if I see somebody as scary as that, I'm backing out, bro. Like, I'm out of it. Well, you can have the tent. I'm calling the police. Or I'm calling the principal. Either way, right? Why is this guy in my tent? There are a bunch of other tents, right? His school tent is literally right there. Just walk right there, instead of doing that, he just stayed in the tent, right? And then it's whatever. The idea is you look at the same information and the reasonable conclusion, somehow the conclusion that you reached is, oh, if they take our life, we take, your life. Normally this wouldn't make sense, right? If it's reasonable. Like, I understand. I totally understand. This is like a tribal kind of perspective, but human nature is tribal in general, right? Like, it is what it is. You hang out with your group and you protect your group, right? You protect your family, you protect your friends. You think about a nation. Nation is a tribe. If there's somebody take away one life in America, what does America usually do, right? In return, like a whole city get bombed. So it's like, I remember, I don't know if it's correct or not. We can ask Grok, right? We can ask Grok. What is the American military motto that's related to if you hurt one American, we will revenge? Because remember, that's what I read before. I don't remember which document that said something similar, but basically it's related to like, you don't touch, we will avenge, right? Mess with one Marine, you mess with them all, right? Like, it's no one's Marine Corps phrases. Yeah. Like, I can understand the broader sentiment of this, but this is not the case. And to say this in here, it's just inappropriate. And again, it's like, it shows a broader community cultural challenge where it just, it feels like the black community is not encouraging self-accountability, but instead just pure tribalism. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if we're in the wrong. If we're in the wrong, are you saying we cannot just randomly kill people and then get away with it? That's really what I heard here. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. It's so weird. And look, there's another case that I found through this through the scenario. And I'm gonna nerf the audio here because this girl was yelling. It was when I was watching
Don't come
it.
up to me like that. Get in the elevator. Get in the elevator.
That is weird. I don't want to be here. There's not a black person in sight.
Let's go. Out.
You kicked us
Come on.
out because of that.
Let's go.
Threatening me. Threat? What was the threat?
Let's go.
Get off me.
So she was talking to the front desk, and the front desk felt like this girl was threatening them or whatnot, right? And then so she got kicked out, which is normal because you're on a private property. And then I have been kicked out before on a private property because when I first came, I didn't really understand something called trespassing, and eventually I understood, you know, but it's common sense. If somebody else owned the property and you don't own it, you have no right to be on it. If you're on it, it's under the grace and the permission of the owner. Right? It makes sense. There's no reason this person owner doesn't really need any reason to kick you out. Literally, just like you go to any businesses, they said we have the right to refuse services. Do they need a reason for it? No, they really don't. It's a private business. They don't want to serve you. They dislike you. They don't want to serve you. You walk in a restaurant and the owner just don't like you. They have the reason just to ask you to leave. Do they need a reason? No, zero, nada. And it seemed like that kind of common sense logic is missing from her brain. You can call this restaurant, this hotel racist or whatnot. If that's the case, I'm just saying. And again, you can make a video out of it, right, and put it online because we're living in social media age, and let the court of public opinion issue their opinions on this entire thing. But you don't go around and yell, "Oh, I'm in the right. I need to stay here. How dare you kick me out?" No, they don't need a reason. Give me the reason why you kick me out. No, they don't need a reason. You just need to leave. That's literally how it works. And did nobody tell her that? She looks like she's in her early 20s or maybe 30s. I don't know. For this 20 years in her life, did anyone not tell her that? You're not entitled to shit. You own the stuff that you own. That's it. Okay. But for the stuff that you don't own, you have no entitlement to them. Nothing. But it seemed like in her head, she owns the world. She owns the entire hotel. I own the hotel. How dare you kick me out, the owner? That makes sense, but that's not the case here, right?
I know my right.
No, you need to go.
Get off me.
This is your last
You
warning.
clearly don't know your
If
rights.
you don't, you are going to get arrested.
Because of
Do
what?
you understand?
Arrested for what?
You have been told to leave numerous times.
And why is she yelling like this? This is such Karen behavior. Like, I never liked this. Back in China, where I was growing up, every time I heard people yelling on the street, I just want to get away from those type of people as soon as possible. It's so obnoxious. You just like, bruh, can you chill the fuck out? Like, you don't own the street. Like, just, leave. It's so annoying. This is such annoying behavior. Like, when you look at this, it's just annoying. Like, you don't own the hotel. You don't own nothing. You don't own shit. Just leave, right? Like, just get out and then talk to the police in a polite way if there's something actually bad that happened. We live in a modern society where rights are protected. If not, if you're actually hurt, that's a golden opportunity for you to become a multimillionaire. Like I've said this over and over again, people are just stupid sometimes.
That's not how it works. You can't arrest me and I didn't do nothing.
You need
They come to the county and tell you that you was dumb as hell. I'ma sue you.
Go.
Because I want to know why
You need to
Stop.
You can be a rapper, I feel like.
Okay.
Get the off of me. Get off of me.
Come on.
Get off of me.
Come on.
Get off of me. Get off of me.
Let's go.
Off of me. You're not putting me on
Dude, I have a
the-
headache
Stop.
watching this again.
Stop.
Like, I
Listen to
shouldn't
me.
have played it.
Stop.
It's a mistake. Okay.
Listen to me.
She's emotional. She's getting ready to cry. But this is sad, honestly speaking, right? Because like, look at this. She's getting riled up by herself. She's getting riled up by her own action, by herself. Literally nothing cringe need to happen besides herself. Herself happened, and then this thing turned all cringe, right? If the hotel asks you to leave because of your behavior or whatnot, because of no reason at all, they just don't want your business, you're gonna get your refund, right? You can sue the hotel later on. If you have a good lawyer, right? If you have a good case, you can make a lot of money. You can put this online. Again, GoFundMe, make a lot of money. Look at Karmelo Anthony's case. I don't know how much money there is for GoFundMe now. Last time I heard it was like $600,000 or $700,000. Look how much money you can make from Go Online, right? Why are you doing this? Why are you cringing yourself like a monkey? Everybody saw this. You're gonna get $2 in your GoFundMe, and that's from your parents to support, you spending 5 minutes not yelling. Bro, chill the fuck out. It's just, you saw this broader cultural challenge that is happening in this multiculturalistic experiment in America, because this is go. By the way, make sure to go watch my reaction to the multiculturalism, or in my opinion, American college, and how entitled American college students are thinking about multiculturalism. It doesn't make any sense because like multiculturalism is not a strength. Multiculturalism is a feature at best, right? Unity is strength. Like throughout history, I have never heard one time or seen one time multiculturalism is a strength. It's not. It's bullshit. It's a feature. And America has multiculturalism as a feature because it's a largely immigrant country. That's not a strength. The strength lies in the Constitution. The strength lies in unity, the core value that we all believe and agree to. Every life is born with immutable rights, and the society protects our rights. That's the strength of America. It's not related to, what race you are. None of that. That's just feature. That's cool that you go to America, you can have all kinds of food, which is everywhere now. It's cool you come to America, there's all kinds of people on the street, which doesn't really exist anywhere else, right? You go to Japan, it's all Japanese. You go to China, it's all Chinese. You go to Korea, it's all Korean. You come to America, it's a bunch of everything. Sure, it's a cool feature, but that's not the strength. The strength is everybody understanding the rule of law, and then decide to study science, technology, mathematics, and engineering. That's the strength, in my opinion, right? It's just core value of American values, the core of American values. But yeah, that's my total verdict, or our understanding, the Chinese community, I would say, from a Chinese immigrant perspective. I don't want to speak for all, but a lot of my friends think exactly the same because I already asked them, which is related to this case, is we think the judgment is basically American judgment, right? From a Chinese perspective, it's too light, but obviously it's fair and square in American judgment because in an American system, a judgment system, right? Justice system, because that's how it is. It was by the book. The jury found him guilty, and then the verdict is 35 years, qualified parole after half. It is what it is. And that's the end of it. You accept it, and that's the end of it. But it's really, really sad. I think prayer goes to both families. Really, though, to Austin Metcalf, because it's such a sad, sad situation. And there's no way, for Anthony, he still have a life in front of him, and he can still repent for his mistake and turn himself into a better person, come out, study, and maybe even get a really good career. And we have heard, like the David bread, right? You see a bunch of inmates came out and started businesses and become mega successful. Anthony still have that chance, but Austin never would, right? Because he's gone, he's killed. And I don't think that's fair, and I think it's really, really sad. It is what it is. So that's our take, guys. What's your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys next time.